Okay. So welcome everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us tonight here to this meet and greet for Aspire's Asian American Women in Leadership Conference. Olivia and I are the co-directors this year, and I'll go ahead and just start running through the content that we have, and we will introduce ourselves as we are both speaking. And I just also want to, my apologies, I just want to make sure that I can still see if people are coming in or not, since I have to let them in. Okay, so I think I should be fine. So what the agenda is for today is Olivia and I will do an introduction to Aspire and the conference. Then we'll have half an hour where we're going to break out into the meet and greet group. So two breakout groups where for 15 minutes each, you'll learn about each of the different committees. Then we'll all come back together and we will, if there's any questions that people have, and then also talking about what the next steps look like. And then at the end, it's totally optional, but if you'd like to stay and be able to meet one another, we'll have half an hour of networking. Can you go to the next slide? So hi, I'm Jenny Seto, and I'm one of the conference co-directors. I've actually been involved with Aspire for, I want to say, about 16 years now, so I feel like that ages me. But in any case, I ran the conference back in 2013 and 14, and then I'm kind of back because I really love the conference, and we're excited about this new model this year. With everything going on, we're going to run it virtually, and so this will be the 12th conference coming up. So Aspire stands for Asian Sisters Participating in Reaching Excellence. And it's actually the first organization in the nation to kind of provide this cross-generational programming and networking opportunities to empower Asian American women and girls. It was founded in 2001, so it's been going on for 19 years now, and primarily in the Boston-based area. But this year, since we're opening up this virtual conference, we're excited to have people from all over. I see there's people from the greater New England area, and in the past we've definitely had participants from the West Coast and in the central area come to our conference. And so can you go to the next slide? Thanks. So Aspire's mission statement is to build and empower a community of Asian American women leaders through identity development, mentorship, and education. So we currently, over the last 19 years, we've accomplished this through many different programs that kind of have, we kind of ebbed and flowed. And so we have three main programs that we currently offer. Next slide. So just a little bit of information about who Aspire's for. Again, primarily we've been based in the Boston area. We primarily target, high school and college young women, as well as professional women in the early to seasoned professionals. And what we offer is to navigate lifetime opportunities, career choices, both academic and personal and professional development, to learn from other Asian American women's accomplishments and insights, to gain a better understanding of the working world, and then, to develop skills that will help them prepare for the real world. Next slide, please. And then so, like in a nutshell, it's a mentorship network. Because of our mission statement, it's also through our programming, we hope to be developing a pipeline of Asian American women leaders. And with all the conferences we held before, the question is, what does that mean? What does it mean to be an Asian American women leader? And by participating in Aspire, there's lots of opportunities for growth, creativity, and professional development. you can see in this photo, it's one of the graduations for our youth leadership program in the past. And we have over 1,500 members nationally who have been involved with our programs, and over 150 different volunteers who've kind of participated throughout the, I guess, decades now. And then so just at a high level, here are the 3 programs if you're curious to just learn more about Aspire in general. So the mentorship program is one of our newer programs that we launched just 2 years ago for college and working women. We'll be launching again next year. It is our newest initiative that's really designed to develop and support connections for Asian American college and working women as mentors and mentees. And then our longest running program, which has been one of our capstone programs, is our youth leadership program. That's for high school girls, and it'll run through the fall semester through the spring semester. And it's a year-long leadership development program that's specifically tailored to the cultural and developmental needs of Asian American high school girls. And then we have the AAWIL conference for short, but that stands for Asian American Women in Leadership Conference, which is for everyone, high school, college, and professionals. Currently, we have it tentatively set for the weekend of November 7th and 8th. And so we were the first, we used to say the largest, but we're the first conference in the US that addresses cultural and social challenges specific to career and leadership development for Asian American women and girls. And so I think, is that the last slide for me? Yeah, so I'll go ahead and so the Asian American Women in Leadership Conference, in past years, we've always done it in person. And typically we've had somewhere between 150 to 250 attendees. And again, it's cross-generational. So we have high school students, college students, professional women. What's always been so powerful and beautiful about it is that it allows us to explore various aspects of leadership, particularly as it relates to our identity, and also just a different kind of leadership skills and styles as it pertains to us as Asian American women. It's brought together a network among attendees, and raising awareness about Aspire and creating a forum for cross-generational Asian Americans to share experiences. And this will be the first year, because of COVID, that we are going to embark on this new format, which I'll let Olivia talk a little bit more about. However, we're still excited to, bring the magic that exists in the conference, regardless of the limitations we're facing due to, what's happening in the world today. So, Olivia, go ahead.
Thanks, Jenny. This is my first year with Aspire, so I'm super excited to get to work with Jenny, who has been doing this for a really long time, and is really deeply rooted in the community and the spaces that we try to serve. So also, just so you have it, everyone, if you want more information about Aspire, you can look at girlsaspire.org, Jenny? .org?
Yes.
Yep, so feel free to check that out to kind of recap on what Jenny was sharing. So a little bit about our conference. Jenny and I spent a lot of time thinking about what do we want our conference to look like this year, especially because it's virtual, especially because of all the things going on in the world. So we kind of came around to a theme that we're really focused on this year, highlighting reimagining the future and becoming the change. We're at a time where there's increasing challenges, whether they were pre-existing and are now just being brought to the light, or whether they're new issues, and kind of a renewed willingness to really tackle some of these changes at a community and at an individual level. And we're really we're hoping this conference will give us the opportunity to think about, how do we look at our past, how do we look at the present, and what do we want our future to look like? And especially through the lens of Asian American women, how are we able to elevate our voices, elevate our community, address our issues that affect us at a community level and at an individual level? And then also as a community and as an individual, how do we want to become change? So really forward thinking about both at the community level and both at the individual level. What do we want our future to look like, and what kind of change do we want to have in the world, and who do we want to be in the midst of all of that. So really hoping that it'll be an opportunity for all of us to think about that, shine a light of hope. As sometimes the world can be a little darker, but opportunity to think about the future and what we can do in the midst of all of that, individually and as a community when we come together. So the three things that Jenny and I are also really excited for about bringing to this conference are these three principles that we really hope will be evoked through all of the committees that we work with and through the actual conference, and what all of the participants will leave away with. When I was talking to Jenny before about, this conference, I was talking about how I think, if this conference is more than just content in this day and age, right? You can find whatever information you want at this point on Google, on YouTube, right? If you want to hear someone speak, like you no longer have to do that in person or like go to the library or whatever. It's all like on the internet at this point. So I think what we really think will make this conference unique is the opportunity for these three principles here. The opportunity to really reflect on who we are, where we are, what we want, and kind of a space to really step back and think about all of these things. And then also a space to have dialogue and conversation, right? So much of our time we spend consuming information, and like, how are we going to participate and actually talk about these issues and talk about what we want and what our thoughts are, and what our participants want. I also really hope that this will be a really interactive conference. I think all of us have been on a bajillion Zoom calls at this point. And I know for a fact that I'm not someone who does very well with someone talking to me the whole time. So we're really hoping for this to be an interactive experience, and really an opportunity to mirror some of the opportunities that you might have in person, right? In virtual spaces, how can we make sure everyone is getting to meet one another, to have those spontaneous moments, to really reflect and like engage with the material and engage with each other. And the final one is really around community. I think it's really, important for us to try to think about how we can build each other up, and how we, are a sisterhood of like Asian American women, and we get to come together for this day at the conference and build this community. We very much want it to be we come together and we're all doing things together, not just like if you weren't there, no one would notice you. So we're really hoping to build up the community. So these are kind of the three big principles that we're hoping to evoke in the entire conference, and we're really excited to work with a team of committee volunteers and ambassador volunteers, which we'll talk about in a moment, to kind of bring our dreams to life. And of course, we'll be working alongside with you, but really, all of us coming together to bring this experience to our participants this year. So a little bit about the roles. I'll talk about this at a high level, but Jenny and I are gonna, go into breakout rooms in just a moment to talk a little bit more specifically about these. So there are two committees and then one extra thing called an ambassador. So the Speaker Relations Committee is really involved around getting all of the programming for the entire conference on the 2 days. Everything from getting speakers and facilitators and thinking about what is the schedule and the flow and how are participants going to be engaged during those sessions. Community outreach is more focused, two parts, I would say. Well, one part really is I think about it as the life cycle of an attendee from, they don't know about the conference, to they know about the conference and are thinking about it. And then they're registering for the conference, and then they join a community before the conference to kind of get to know each other before the conference. And then making sure they're engaged in a community during the conference, and then any post-conference things that we might do. So they're really in charge of the pipeline, all the way from outreach, all the way to the conference, and then after the conference as well. We also have one, so you can join a committee specifically for one of those roles. We also have an ambassador role, again, which we'll talk more about in the breakout room, but that's an opportunity for those of you who might need a more flexible commitment to AAWIL and are looking for something that might have less of a time commitment, and also a little bit more flexible in terms of what you want to do in it, because it spans all of the committees and you're not necessarily doing work for one specific committee. That's just at a high level. Again, Jenny and I are excited to talk about that in our smaller groups. Cool. So our intention here is that we're going to split up into two groups. Jenny will lead one group and I'll lead one group. And in the Jenny breakout room, you'll talk about speaker relations. And then in my breakout room, you'll talk about committee outreach. And then Jenny and I will swap after that, so that both groups get to hear about both of the committees from us.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just break us into two groups. So I'm going to go ahead and also